What if I told you that the biggest winner of the AI revolution isn't the company you think it is? Every day, millions of people ask ChatGPT questions. Developers write code with Microsoft Copilot. Students learn with Google Gemini. Businesses race to build smarter AI. From the outside, it looks like OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, and Meta are competing to shape the future. And in many ways, they are. But behind every breakthrough, behind every new model, and behind the enormous computing power that makes modern AI possible, there's a story most people have never heard. For more than 30 years, one company focused on solving an entirely different problem. It wasn't trying to build the world's most popular chatbot. It wasn't trying to become a search engine. It wasn't trying to create a social network. Instead, it built technologies that would later become a critical part of the infrastructure used by many of today's most advanced AI systems, a journey that began with video games and ended up helping power the AI revolution. So how did a gaming hardware company become one of the most important names in artificial intelligence? This is the story of NVIDIA.
January 1993. The world was very different. Personal computers were only beginning to enter ordinary homes. The internet existed, but only for a fortunate few. Connecting to the online world wasn't instant. Every connection took time. Every file mattered. Only a handful of computers across the world could communicate with one another. Most of humanity had never experienced the internet. Communication still relied on telephones, pagers, fax machines, and floppy disks. The digital revolution had begun, but only a few people could see where it was leading. Behind closed laboratory doors, a small group of researchers were quietly chasing an impossible dream. They believed that one day, machines could learn. Most people dismissed the idea, some even laughed at it, but every great revolution begins with a handful of believers. Late into the night, while the rest of the world slept, they kept building, testing, failing, learning, and trying again. As the first light of a new day filled the laboratory, few could have imagined that these quiet experiments would one day change the future of humanity forever. (1993) While the world was still discovering the internet, inside a few quiet university laboratories, another revolution had already begun. There were no headlines, no billion-dollar companies, no investors chasing the next breakthrough. Only a handful of brilliant researchers working with aging computers, limited funding, and an idea that almost everyone believed was impossible. Every experiment pushed technology beyond its limits. Processors struggled to keep up. Memory was painfully limited. Most prototypes failed again and again. Weeks of work could disappear in a single moment, but failure never stopped them. Every mistake became another lesson. Every setback revealed another possibility. Then, something changed. After countless sleepless nights, months of trial and error, the impossible finally happened. For the first time, their machine didn't just follow instructions. It began to recognize patterns. It learned. The room fell silent. No cheering, no celebration. Only quiet smiles and a few exhausted researchers who understood they had just witnessed the beginning of something far greater than themselves. As the first light of morning filled the laboratory, they returned to work because they knew this wasn't the finish line. It was only the first step. From that quiet laboratory, the future of artificial intelligence had officially begun. No headlines, no applause, just a small breakthrough that would eventually change the future of humanity forever. February 1993. While the world chased the internet, another revolution was quietly taking shape. Far from the spotlight, three engineers shared one impossible belief: computers could become far more than calculation machines. Back then, even the fastest computers struggled with simple graphics. Artificial intelligence still sounded impossible. Most people laughed, investors walked away, experts said it would never work. But history has never belonged to people who followed the crowd. While the world moved on, they kept building. One experiment, one failure, one improvement at a time. Every late night brought them one step closer. No cameras, no headlines, no applause, just three engineers refusing to give up. Inside a tiny office, filled with old computers, borrowed equipment, and endless determination, an idea slowly became reality. Outside, life looked exactly the same. Traffic kept moving. Businesses stayed busy. Nobody noticed what was happening behind those walls. But inside, the future had already begun. That small team would eventually power the biggest breakthroughs in artificial intelligence. Its name was NVIDIA, and the world still had no idea what was coming next. Every breakthrough has a deadline. By the mid-1990s, NVIDIA was learning that the hard way. Starting the company had been the easy part. Keeping it alive became the real challenge. Every month brought new expenses, tighter deadlines, and another reason to question whether the dream could survive. Money disappeared quickly. Every prototype demanded more work, more patience, and more time than they could afford. Every failed test meant starting again with even fewer resources than before. Inside the office, the routine never changed. Design, test, fail, improve, then start all over again. The engineers weren't just building new technology anymore. They were racing against the clock. Outside, bigger competitors were already selling products and expanding their reach. The industry wasn't slowing down, and it certainly wasn't waiting for NVIDIA. Belief kept the team moving forward, but belief couldn't pay suppliers. It couldn't reduce manufacturing costs, and it couldn't create more time. Every meeting became a question of survival, not how fast they could grow, but whether they could survive another month. Most startups disappear quietly, not because they stop believing, but because time eventually defeats them. For one brief moment, NVIDIA stood on that same edge. One mistake could have ended everything. Instead of retreating, the founders made the boldest decision of their young company. They risked everything they had left on one final opportunity. That decision wouldn't just save NVIDIA, it would change the future of computing forever.